Hey, this is Lee Bermejo, and you're watching BatFacts.
Thanks, Lee. Welcome back to BatFacts. In 2005, Christopher Nolan had shown the world a different Batman with Batman Begins, and something different entirely with The Prestige the following year. So when it came time to introduce the world to the next chapter in his Batman saga, The Dark Knight, Nolan went with his strength and did something different. Teaming with 42 Entertainment, they would put together the most elaborate, unique, and memorable alternate reality experience of all time. This episode of BatFacts, the story of the Why So Serious ARG. On the last day of July 2006, Warner Bros. Officially announced the sequel to Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, with Nolan returning to direct, along with Christian Bale returning as the titular Dark Knight. But the real announcement of that day was 27-year-old Australian Heath Ledger would be portraying the Joker in this modern Batman story. Right off the bat, the reaction was awful. And over the weeks and months that followed, the buzz surrounding the film was largely focused on being critical of that casting, and not the general excitement that Warner Bros. Had hoped for. Despite having turned in award-winning performances in Brokeback Mountain and I'm Not There, Ledger was unable to shake the impressions left by less acclaimed films like Knight's Tale or 10 Things I Hate About You. To say nothing of the unfortunate homophobia that comes with being the lead in such a high-profile and acclaimed gay love story. Warner Bros. Needed to handle this carefully. They needed to shrewdly reframe the conversation about Ledger's casting to get audiences excited about a bold new take on the Joker, while also finding a unique way to reveal the first look at the character. With the increasing ubiquity of cell phone cameras, the Nolans were keen to beat any potential leak to the punch as they began filming in Chicago in April of 2007. Just as The Dark Knight was entering principal photography, an elaborate ARG, or alternate reality game, was just reaching its climax around the release of Year Zero, the fifth album from Nine Inch Nails. A concept album set in a dystopian year 2022 defined by terrorism and political upheaval. The companion ARG sent fans with a flair for sleuthing on elaborate scavenger hunts, both online and off, in a constant search for the next clue to drive the story forward, even if it was hidden within a spectrogram of an MP3 of a static found on a USB drive hidden in a bathroom at a Nine Inch Nails show in Portugal. This thing went deep, and the team behind it was called 42 Entertainment, who designed the experience in collaboration with Trent Reznor. The term marketing sure is a frustrating one for me at the moment. What you are now starting to experience is Year Zero. It's not some kind of gimmick to get you to buy a record. It is the art form. And we're just getting started. Hope you enjoy the ride, said Reznor, clearly enthused by the possibilities of this burgeoning style of cross-platform storytelling. The project caught the eye of Jonathan Nolan via an article in Wired, and soon he and his brother contacted 42 Entertainment with an interesting proposition. They reached out and said, "Hey, do you think you guys could do something like this for Batman?" said 42 Entertainment's COO Alex Liu, adding, "The Nolans fought for this to happen. They went to Warner Brothers and said, look, we want you to take X amount of the marketing money and take it out of TV or whatever, and let's play around." Liu and his team got to work, and the campaign began the following month. The idea was basically to create Gotham in real time, from the end of Batman Begins right up until the beginning of The Dark Knight, said Susan Bonds, CEO of 42 Entertainment. The campaign would begin simply enough, with the launch of the official Dark Knight website on May 11, 2007, which only contained a placeholder image of Nolan's angular Batman logo. A week later, Aaron Eckhart was announced as being cast in the role of Harvey Dent, and clicking the logo on the website would redirect to IBelieveInHarveyDent.com, a campaign website for Gotham District Attorney hopeful Harvey Dent. Comic readers would recognize I Believe in Harvey Dent as a refrain lifted from The Long Halloween, Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale's epic series that would inform much of The Dark Knight. This news site also had a place to enter an email address, which is where the ARG truly began. Around this time, employees of 42 Entertainment had began going in secret to comic book stores and hiding dozens of Joker cards. The cards were all rubber stamped with the phrase, I believe in Harvey Dent too, along with scrolled laughter. This led to the discovery of IBelieveInHarveyDent2.com, a vandalized version of the original Harvey Dent site. As word of the discovery of the secret website began to grow online, site visitors began noticing an image slowly overtaking the website. And eventually, it was discerned that each email gathered by the site was revealing another single pixel of a bigger image. After roughly 20 hours and 97,000 email addresses collected, the now iconic first photo of Heath Ledger as the Joker was revealed. His horribly scarred face slathered in makeup and distinctly not smiling, this was a Joker that was scary, in a way that audiences hadn't yet seen before. Suddenly, the chorus of naysayers got a little quieter. And with that, the Nolan's initial objective was met, and the team at 42 Entertainment was off to the races. So what would be the next phase of the project? How about the world's biggest pop culture fandom event? We're in a meeting with the Nolans and they go, "Look, we don't want to show any footage of the movie. We don't want to have any of the actors come. We don't really want to talk about the movie. In fact, we don't want to go at all. Can you make us the biggest thing at Comic-Con?" Lou remembers fondly of the next phase of the ARG. So how did they do it? Well, it all started with 11,000 $1 bills. Each bill would be Jokerized with a sticker, as to stay within the legal parameters for defacing currency. Before the convention began, $10,000 bills were snuck into the convention's internal banking system to be given to vendors to give out as change. The remaining 1,000 were given out on the ground by the 42 Entertainment team to those who look like big Batman fans. The bottom of each bill was a public debut of the now famous catchphrase, "Why so serious?" and subsequently brought about the discovery of whysoserious.com and a recruitment poster with a set of coordinates and a clock counting down to 10 a.m. the next day. The initial plan for the dollar bills was to distribute the money by simply throwing it out of a third-story window, in a scene reminiscent of the Joker's parade in 1989's Batman. But when they went to Comic-Con about the idea of dumping $10,000 in singles into a crowd of people, the idea was wisely modified. But that's not to say there wasn't unexpected pandemonium, when thousands of people descended upon the recruitment poster's coordinates, with even more helping the process from online, to a total of 650,000 people participating. Once the timer ran out, those standing at the particular coordinates were greeted to the perfect view of 5 Skyrider planes over the skies of San Diego, spelling out "ha ha ha" in the sky, followed by a phone number. Callers were greeted with a recorded message from a hostage, with beginning instructions for a multi-stage scavenger hunt through the streets of San Diego.
Hello? Hello? Can anyone hear me? Please help. Okay, I'll read it.
But first, a makeover. Arriving at the second checkpoint and saying, "I feel pretty," would get you a face paint kit with instructions, and, before long, hundreds of Joker face players were taking part. This being 2007 and the smartphone still largely in its infancy, players would work together with their very own guy in the chair. Online players would solve puzzles and reveal the next location for players on the ground. And players on the ground would complete real-world tasks like stealing cookies from planted Girl Guides or popping balloons to reveal hidden passwords, which would then be relayed to players online for them to reveal the next location, and so on. In the climax of these festivities, one of the participants was kidnapped, thrown into the back of a van that sped off, with only enough time for other players to use the van's license plate as the final clue. Pictures of its remains were later distributed to players. At the end of the event, players on the ground got henchman clown masks, and online players were treated to a teaser trailer containing audio clips from the film, including the premiere of Heath Ledger's Joker laugh. Also released was a second picture of the Joker, confirming his green hair and highlighting Maggie Gyllenhaal's Rachel Dawes, who took over the role from Katie Holmes. And so, they reframed the conversation about Heath Ledger's casting and made The Dark Knight the talk of Comic-Con without any appearances or footage. Both objectives set forth by the Nolans and Warner Brothers were completed, but the team at 42 Entertainment still had more than a few tricks up their sleeves. In another nod to the long Halloween, Lou and his team would purposefully space out puzzles, missions, and challenges around monthly holidays. So when the campaign relaunched that October, whysoserious.com was changed to a slowly decaying jack-o'-lantern. Once the pumpkin had fully decayed, a message from the Joker made his latest scavenger hunt a little less local, leaving clues to 49 different locations all around the US. These clues led players to prominently displayed letters, and within 24 hours, players had submitted photos to all of the letters, and a real-world ransom note would spell out the Joker motto,
"The only sensible way to live in this world is without rules."
Clicking on the completed solution played a dialogue clip of the Joker saying,
"Tonight you're gonna break your one rule."
Followed by the third official image of the Joker. This would continue to be how it went for any sort of official reveal. But more than just trickling out images and catchphrases, one of the primary goals of any ARG is to provide the players with an immersive experience, to be a small part of the film's story before the film even begins. One thing that's already established by the time the film begins is the Joker seeming to already have a sizable army at his literal disposal. And for his part of the ARG, players would take on the role of someone who was recruited to the Joker's ranks. The recruitment theme was revisited when the Joker gave further instruction to his growing gang of hopefuls to photograph themselves posing menacingly around local landmarks. These were collected and displayed on a website called rorysdeathkiss.com, a sneaky reference to the Dark Knight's working title, and to Christopher Nolan's son, Rory. That tangent. Oftentimes high-profile film productions will go by an alias or working title, especially while filming in public, to ward off unwanted attention. During the production of The Dark Knight, its working title was the innocuous and forgettable Rory's First Kiss. Previous working titles for Batman films have included Dictel for Batman Returns, Blinko for Batman Forever, and Batman Begins was The Intimidation Game. Nolan would follow up Rory's First Kiss with Magnus Rex, aka Dark Knight Rises, and 2022's The Batman was, perhaps unsurprisingly, simply called Vengeance. Okay, back to the show. Along with submitting photos, the Joker asked for recruits to submit their mailing addresses to keep tabs. Some of the more impressive displays of clownery got sent care packages with various items such as Joker cards, makeup kits, and special notes, and all participants were sent a copy of the in-world newspaper, the Gotham Times, which would take the ARG to yet another level of immersion. Throughout the campaign, 3 issues of the Gotham Times were produced and distributed to participants worldwide. The 4-page newspapers primed audiences for the Gotham City the film inhabited, with stories and editorials reporting on the city's politics, crime, and the mysterious Batman's war on the mob. The paper would even have updates on events like the Girl Guide cookie theft and the strange clown sightings from previously in the ARG. Hidden deep within the corrections section of the first issue was a personal ad from a, quote, charming, handsome man with a dazzling smile, seeking amateur clowns for discreet encounters. The email address was humanresources@whysoserious.com. Writing to this address got you periodic emails from the Joker himself, typically teasing upcoming opportunities.
A lot of potential for aggressive expansion.
Nearly every business or politician mentioned within the Gotham Times had a corresponding website, rife for exploration. From Harvey Dent's political opponents to the Gotham National Bank, players scoured each issue for new clues, often leading to the next puzzles from the Joker and subsequent reveals. One such series of puzzles had players rewarded with the printable credentials of Jake Karnassian, the manager of buildings and grounds for the Gotham Unified School District 22. In 5 select cities, bringing these credentials to a particular IMAX theater would allow you access to a special screening of the first 5 minutes of The Dark Knight, aka the Joker prologue. This gave ARG participants the world's first, albeit brief, look at Ledger's Joker, as this was a couple of weeks before the prologue began showing ahead of I Am Legend in IMAX theaters, and before a proper trailer had been released. Towards the end of the now iconic bank robbery scene, the Joker escapes on a school bus that is revealed to be stolen from District 22, directly implicating the ARG players with the bus's theft. When the words, "A taste for the theatrical," were found hidden at the bottom of this one cheap poster, a taste for the theatrical.com was revealed, which would eventually reveal the first trailer for The Dark Knight. Speaking of theatrics, the Joker's next means of spreading the word is perhaps his most elaborate. An email from Human Resources and a simple puzzle led players to Step Right Up, another carnival game which, when completed, would reveal 22 locations around the United States. By going to these locations, which turned out to be bakeries, and being the first to pick up an order left under the name Robin Banks, participants would get a cake. The cakes would have a phone number written on them in icing, with instructions to call immediately. Upon doing so, the cake itself would begin to ring.
Well,
Wait a minute! Wait! My cake is ringing!
Inside the cakes were Ziploc bags containing a Nokia 6215i and charger from promotional partner Nokia, which would function as a direct line of communication between the Joker and what would be presumed to be particularly active players. Upon answering the phone, an audio message would play saying, "Thank you for calling Rent-A-Clown. Now we know who you are." Followed by a text from Mr. J. "Good work, Clown. Keep this phone charged and with you at all times. Don't call me, I'll call you. Eventually." As the new year began, the world received the tragic news of Heath Ledger's passing, and the ARG was put on hold for a 30-day period, with black ribbons being added to several of the sites in tribute to Ledger. It had always been in the planning, but at this point 42 Entertainment pivoted the ARG away from anarchistic Joker stunts and towards Harvey Dent's electoral campaign for Gotham District Attorney, while also introducing shorter threads involving Commissioner Gordon and the JCPD, the pro-Batman group Citizens for Batman, and its burgeoning vigilante offshoot, Citizens for Batman Underground. So, our idea ended up evolving into playing with the 3 different characters. It's Joker first, because he's so iconic, then transitioning to Harvey Dent, then ending with, "Let's be on the side of Batman," said Lou. The Dent campaign began what was the second stream for the game, where the first put players in the role of a recruit for the Joker, the second made players volunteers for Harvey Dent's campaign. What kind of Gotham citizen did you want to be? In 2008, the United States was in the midst of a deeply politicized moment as real-life campaigns for the Democratic primary between Hillary Clinton and then young upstart Barack Obama were far more internet-savvy than ever before. At the same time, 33 Dentmobiles toured the country, giving out promo materials for his I Believe in Harvey Dent campaign for Gotham City District Attorney, as well as a second issue of the Gotham Times. Robocalls recorded by Aaron Eckhart himself started pouring into those who provided phone numbers.
"Hello, I'm Harvey Dent, Assistant District Attorney of Gotham City. I'm calling to ask for your support."
Along with Gotham City voter registration cards being mailed out to those who gave addresses. Eventually, full-scale I Believe in Harvey Dent rallies were held on the streets of major cities. This was another brilliant example of the 42 team trickling out phrases and themes that would play a part in the film. So, if you've been seeing I Believe in Harvey Dent around for months, suddenly when Bruce Wayne says,
"The guy from those god-awful campaign commercials, I believe in Harvey Dent." Yeah, nice slogan, Harvey.
It becomes an inside reference that the audience is already in on. We couldn't have predicted how popular it would be, but we saw a 38% increase in participation, mostly among women, said Bonds of the electoral campaign. April Fool's Day 2008 saw the launch of Rent-A-Clown Travel Agency, where a passport revealed 26 locations worldwide alongside locker combinations. Diligently following these instructions took players to real-world bowling alleys, where additional Joker phones were left in lockers, typically in a bowling bag with a custom green and purple bowling ball and Joker cards. The Joker's return on April Fool's Day is similar to his return on the last Laugh episode of Batman the Animated Series, but is also in keeping with the Long Halloween theme, although the April Fool's chapter of Long Halloween is centered on the Riddler. Other holiday-themed ideas that were floated around the 42 offices, such as Joker-painted mall Santa Clauses or coffins full of chattering teeth on Mother's Day, perhaps wisely didn't move forward. On April 24th, a text to all Joker phones revealed the phrase, "It's all a part of the plan," leading to the discovery of whysoserious.com/all a part of the plan, which detailed 12 cities and specific coordinates on where and when to meet 4 days later on April the 28th. On that fateful afternoon, participants were greeted to another hybrid scavenger hunt with players online, led by Clown Mask Goons. The scavenger hunt eventually led to local IMAX theaters, where players were treated to an advanced screening of the second Dark Knight trailer. One lucky participant chosen by the clowns was given a small film canister which, if the lucky winner could gain access to a film projector, contained a Jokerized version of the trailer. Videos of these reels began showing up online the next day, and the official trailer would be released to the general public the following week. The release of the third and final issue of the Gotham Times had players poring over articles and discovering even more websites and message boards that were a part of Gotham. The discovery of Gotham City Pizzeria, powered by real-world sponsor Domino's, offered free pizza for a single day, June 16th. Along with being a secret gateway to a game that would reveal the first image of Two-Face, the promotion also revealed Citizens for Batman Underground, a vigilante group featured in Batman's introductory scene of The Dark Knight.
That's not him.
While most simply received free pizza in a specialty Gotham pizza box, others received a cowl and recruitment materials for this group, and access to their secret message boards. Perhaps the most extravagant component of the film's marketing was Gotham Tonight, a 6-episode in-world news program hosted by Mike Engel, played by actor and SNL alum Anthony Michael Hall. These were concentrated shots of exposition, and contained in-character appearances from Dark Knight actors. Everyone! From Gary Oldman and Aaron Eckhart to the Dark Knight himself, Christian Bale, as well as an appearance from comedian Joey Diaz as a Gotham City business owner. These episodes were available for free to Comcast subscribers, as well as online leading up to the film's release. Episode 1 reveals that the I Believe in Harvey Dent campaign was a success, and Harvey Dent had been elected to District Attorney of Gotham City. Also leading up to the theatrical release of The Dark Knight, Warner Bros. Released a special edition DVD of Batman Begins that included a deposit slip from Gotham Bank with a username and password scrawled on it. Entering these credentials got you access to the manager of Gotham Bank's email, confirming that it is indeed a bank. As the film's July 18th release date drew closer and closer, the many stories over the 3 character streams of the ARG began to come to a head, dovetailing into the events of The Dark Knight. The final episode of Gotham Tonight was an interview with the newly elected District Attorney Harvey Dent, which is interrupted by news of a daring bank robbery, where 5 of the 6 assailants were killed, with the last absconding with $68 million. An event that sounds familiar. Joker phones received a series of word puzzles that eventually led to Overture, a picture of a bomb ticking down to July 10th. Players who participated in the Citizens for Batman stream would be mailed promo items and an invite to 2 special events happening on July 8th in New York City and Chicago. Thousands gathered in support of Batman, with even more supporting via livestream on citizensforbatman.com. A real-life bat signal was shot onto the Woolworth Building in New York City and the Sears Tower in Chicago. But it would be the Joker who would, as always, have the last laugh. On July 10th at 10 p.m. Eastern, the Joker's Overture bomb would drop. And each and every site in the entire ARG would be Jokerized. That moment, to me, is the bigger idea. This whole thing was just a giant joke by the Joker. I see it all as a long prequel to the movie, says Lou of the entire ARG experience. Simultaneously, the live feed is reactivated for citizensforbatman.org, showing the bat signal as being reprojected onto the Woolworth Building and Sears Tower. It then turns to the Joker signal a short time later. Solving a puzzle involving the vandalized sites leads to whysoserious.com/kicking and screening, and a reward of free tickets to a pre-release IMAX showing of The Dark Knight on July 15th, bringing the ARG to its conclusion. So, for over a year, at no cost to the participant, they could be immersed in a living, growing Gotham City, and not just on websites and message boards, but on several unique channels across multiple story threads, promotional print materials, phone messages, in-world TV shows, and real-world gatherings, even written across the sky, projected on buildings, and hidden inside ringing cakes. The ARG also equipped audiences with quite a bit of film exposition. Harvey Dent winning the race for Gotham DA, the JCPD's war with organized crime, gangs of Batman copycat vigilante groups roaming Gotham, and the Joker executing a daring bank heist are all familiar to the ARG participants before the film's release. The Dark Knight went on to become not only the most acclaimed Batman film, but one of the most acclaimed films of the decade, setting a record for biggest opening weekend of all time, with midnight, 3 a.m., and 6 a.m. showings all selling out in advance of opening day. The film would earn over $1 billion at the worldwide box office, and a posthumous Best Supporting Actor Oscar for Heath Ledger. Over 11 million people in 75 countries participated in Why So Serious in one way or another. It has a record in the Guinness Book for most popular alternate reality game, and is an incredible case study in building an immersive storytelling experience. Although 2022's The Batman did feature some cleverly coded messages and secret in-world websites, it didn't go nearly as deep as the Why So Serious campaign. The ubiquity of smartphones would turn many of the community-based ground-to-internet relay activities and scavenger hunts featured in Why So Serious into simply solo phone games. Why So Serious had the perfect storm of burgeoning technologies that allowed it to work perfectly for that time. Alex Liu summed it up thusly. You know, I wouldn't even want to replicate that today. Look, this was 10 years ago. At the time, things were far more guerrilla than they are now. The world has changed and we are very sensitive to privacy, not wanting to send, 6,000 people to a location that wasn't expecting it. But at the time, we were charting new territory. And so, we were able to do some unusual things. So, that's the Why So Serious campaign. Believe it or not, this thing went even deeper than what I had time for here, with smaller threads involving murder, missing persons, and corrupt police. But if you've come this far and are interested, I've left some links in the show notes. I'm on Instagram and TikTok as BatFacts Videos. Follow for Batman news, clips, and updates. I have stickers. DM me and I'll send you some. Stay tuned for the next episode. I don't know what it'll be about. Suggest topics in the comments. Some Bat time, same Bat channel. Thanks for watching.